Number 5, calculate the heat capacity in joules and in calories per degree of the following. And then we have letter B. So in this case, we need to find the heat capacity for 1 pound of aluminum metal. So in this case, we have to find the heat capacity for 1 pound of Al, and it's a metal, so it's solid. Okay. Now, they only gave us one number, right, technically, and they asked for the heat capacity. There are some things that we have to know going into this problem, and that's all of this. Now, since this isn't a quiz or a test, right, they're not going to give you these values, but maybe on your quizzes or tests, they might provide these conversion factors and the specific heat values. I would just ask your professor or your teacher to just see what you're responsible for memorizing. All right, guys? But in this case, they didn't give you anything, so I gave it to you guys. All right. So let's figure this out. Calculate the heat capacity, right? What is that? It's just a formula, and the formula is this, right? I'll put it over here. It's a simple formula. It's capital C equals M times S. Let's just run through these units. Capital C is the heat capacity. Now, when using this formula, the heat capacity, which is what we're trying to solve for, is always in joules per degree Celsius. So that's what we're first going to be solving for. We're finding the joules per degree. Then we just have to do like a conversion. But first we're going to find out those joules per degree Celsius values. The M is the mass, and if I'm using this formula, the mass has to be in grams. And then the S that you're multiplying by the mass is the specific heat. So it's the specific heat or the specific heat capacity, and that's of the specific compound, molecule, or element that you're talking about. So in this case, since we're talking about aluminum metal, I need to find out the specific heat for aluminum, and hence it's this number right here. The unit for specific heat would be joules per gram times degree Celsius. So use those units to help you guys. If you were given a question, right, and you see anything with these units next to a number, it's always the specific heat. Just know the difference between a specific heat value and a heat capacity value. They look very similar, but the specific heat has a gram amount or a mass amount. The heat capacity does not. So use those units to help figure out which, unit you have. Do you have a capital C or do you have an S that they gave you? Okay, let's do the math. Heat capacity of this aluminum equals the mass. Now, whoa, we need it in grams. They gave me 1.00 pound. So what do I have to do? I got to convert. I got to convert from pounds to grams. Well, thankfully, we know a conversion, right? We know that 1 pound, aka LB, is 453.592 grams. Now, they told us literally we have 1.00 pounds. So that's this number, right? Whether I put 1 or just 1.00, it's the same number. So the 1 pound equals 453.592 grams. So that's the number that I'm going to put in here. I don't put the units, right? I don't put the unit gram or any units because it's going to get a little hairy. I just do a mental check. I say, okay, this has to be in grams. Okay, I know that this number is now in grams, so that's all that I need. Now I'm going to times it by the specific heat of aluminum. This number is provided to you either by a table if you're using a textbook, if the question's in the textbook. It might be provided by your teacher or professor. You would just have to ask your teacher or professor what you're responsible for memorizing, or it might even be on your quiz or test. In this case, it was in a table, so I just pulled it from a table. And there you go. Specific heat, heat capacity of aluminum is just these two numbers multiplied together, 453.592 times 0.897. And since we started off with 3 sig figs, I should have 3 sig figs at the end. So this would be 407. So 407. 407. The units coming out of this formula is always joule per degree Celsius. So that's your first answer. Now we just got to convert the 407 joules per degree Celsius and convert it into calories per degree Celsius. So this is just a simple conversion, right? We take our number, 407, right, joules per degree Celsius, and it seems like we're not going to do anything with the bottom number. We just need to convert the joules to calories. Now, I just want to point out here that they told us that we needed to convert to lowercase c. There is a difference between calories, that is a lowercase c, and calories, that is an uppercase c. One uppercase c calorie is equal to 1,000 lowercase c calories. The capital is the same thing as a kilocalorie. These are actually what's on our food labels on the back of any, edible product. We're just calculating the lowercase calorie here. So that's this conversion over here. 1 calorie, lowercase c, equals 4.184 joules. So I don't want the joules anymore. So I times by a ratio, I'm converting. I put the unit that I don't want on the opposite side, so that goes on the bottom, and the unit that I want goes on the top. So lowercase c, I'll just put cal for calorie. Use the numbers that's in the conversion. There's 1 calorie per every 4.184 joules. So 1 calorie for every 4.184 joules. The joules cancel out. I now have calorie over degrees Celsius. Those units don't cancel, so that's what I want. And now I just do the math. Since the 4.184 is in the denominator, that's division. So I'm technically doing 407 divided by 4.184. Keeping with the 3 sig figs, I get 97.3. And that's in lowercase c calorie per Celsius. And that is your second heat capacity value for aluminum metal. So these are your two answers, 407 joules per degree Celsius and 97.3 calories per degree Celsius. And that's it, guys. What do you think? Hopefully this helped. Let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up. If it helped you, it just shows us that we're doing our job right. And we'll keep providing this type of content for you guys. If you want, subscribe to the channel. That will help us out. And thank you so much for that. You guys rock. Keep studying hard. You got this. I believe in you guys. All right? I know you can do it. Chem's not hard. We got this. I will see you in the next lesson. Have a great day. Bye.